On Brisbane Health today, we've been discussing sleep apnea treatments with experts Peter and Trevor. So guys, now some additional choices other than CPAP. What have other people got to choose?
Well, there's a range of different therapies out there now, and all of these therapies are very welcome because the reality is that as good as CPAP is, some people decide it's not for them. There are a few people which have got difficulties getting used to CPAP, but whatever the reason is, there has always been a group of people which have been left untreated because CPAP was not the therapy for them, for whatever reason. So having more and more options is a very welcome development because it means that more people can be treated. And one of those options that has come about is a little device called Provent. Now, Provent is a very interesting device. It's actually a one-way valve. These devices adhere to the end of your nose, which sounds a little bit funny, but I guess if you're comparing it to having a mask on, you've got to start... It's quite
small.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Now, it's a very innovative device. It uses microvalve technology, and I can give you a little bit of an insight into how it works. It's the design of it is quite smart. So as you're breathing in, there is no change. When you're breathing out, everything changes dramatically because you're actually breathing out through that little hole. So your expiratory breath is restricted. And two things happen. The first thing that happens is there is a build-up of pressure in your airway, which obviously splints the airway open. The second thing that happens is that your expiratory breath is prolonged and prolonged and prolonged to this point where there is no more expiratory pause. So you actually go from breathing out to breathing in from this position where your airway is splintered open, and it takes a lot longer for the airway to collapse from that position than it would from that position. And so this is a very good therapy for a lot of people. It works quite well. With these sort of therapies, of course, you would need to go and get tested again to make sure that the device is working correctly for you. Without that test, you just simply don't know. You might have some sort of symptomatic improvement. So one of the things that the partner will often say, don't you go to bed without one of these because you're not snoring anymore. So you hear that quite often. So if the snoring's gone, that's obviously a good sign that things are working correctly, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the obstructive sleep apnea has been treated correctly. So you really need that follow-up sleep study to actually prove or to show that it's working correctly for you and that your obstructive sleep apnea is treated. So that's a very interesting little device, and it works quite well.
It's quite effective, is there?
For people where it works, yes it is, and it's changed a lot of people's lives. People that have failed CPAP and have never gotten used to it or haven't wanted to use it are using these devices, and it's the same sort of results as you have with CPAP. It changes your life. So it's a very welcome development, devices like this. There is another device which is very similar to this one, which is Theravent. Now this one won't prolong your expiratory breath to where it eliminates your expiratory pause, so it's only effective for snoring. So this one here would be for obstructive sleep apnea, this one here would be for simple snoring. So these devices are becoming more and more common.
I can see that they look quite simple and quite small, easy to use. I can see how people would find that quite helpful. Yeah,
a lot of people that travel a lot and use a CPAP will use a CPAP at home, but when they travel they'll take one of these devices or some of these devices with them because it's a lot easier to carry in your pocket rather than carrying a machine around.
Of course, and you've got some other interesting looking things there. What other...
Right. So this is a positioning device. Now we spoke about sleeping on your side versus on your back. The majority of the problem for most people occurs when you're sleeping on your back. Or it's more severe on your back. So this device actually just fits around your neck like so. It's a very simple device to wear. It doesn't have to be worn very tight. But as you get into the position where you're lying on your back, this device will start to vibrate gently. And as time progresses, it vibrates more and more and more until it gets to a point where it's quite severe. And at that point, you're probably awake. In most cases, you will turn off your back onto your side well before that happens. So this device is extremely effective at keeping people off their back. And it's a very effective device. It also collects a lot of data, so you can actually see the positions that you've slept during the night. And combined sometimes with Provent, this is a very, very effective therapy for a lot of people.
I actually use one of those with my CPAP because it keeps me on my side, which means it's less pressure, which means that there's less likely that the mask is going to leak. It's just way more comfortable.
Yeah, very clever. So guys, is there any funding available for people with sleep apnea?
Queensland Health has programs for pensioners or people with health cards. And I would recommend they go and talk to their doctors. Queensland Health, also the Queensland Health phone line, and I forget the number, I'm sorry, I think it's 1-800-HEALTH. But they do have some very good programs where basically you get a machine at no charge. You have to do a rental to prove you're going to use it, but they it's a tremendous contribution towards it, which makes it a lot easier for people that need treatment to get the treatment.
Well, that's really good that it can be helped and that people
Very
with it
much so,
can be helped.
Yeah.
Yeah. And have you guys got any other options there that...
There is one other option, which is a dental device, which essentially what it does is it pulls your jaw forward. As it pulls your jaw forward when you wear it, it changes the shape of your airway, and that can be very effective for a lot of people. The only problem is to actually get one is quite expensive, somewhere between $1,400 and $1,800. They are a dental device. So there is actually a screening device that's available, which is a very temporary device. You can go in and have one of these made up. That will also pull your jaw forward. And then you can have a sleep study with this device to show whether it's effective. If that therapy is effective, then you would go and have a custom device made up. And the custom devices are actually quite comfortable to wear. They come in two pieces.
See, they look quite comfortable.
Yeah, so they're not too bad. And that's a very effective option for some people as well. So there is a variety of options now that people can explore if the CPAP is not working for them.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much to Trevor and Peter. I'd like to thank the guests for today, Trevor Cuthbert and Peter Pratt. If you'd like further information about sleep apnea, please visit the Brisbane Health webpage on www.31.com.au. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. On next week's show, we'll be discussing celiac disease. Thanks for watching, guys.